All right. Monday, October 5th, 6:30 p.m. here at Rusty Hook's Bait and Tackle Shop. Located in, what's the address here?
4070 Charlotte Highway, Lake Wiley, South Carolina.
We are live for Rusty Hook's Live. Back here in the back studios of, what's this technically called? The Fishing Liars Lounge? Is that what it is?
My dad calls it the Fishtails Lounge.
Fishtails Lounge? Close enough. So we're live. Shane's not here with us tonight. He is down at the probably the ever tough Santee Cooper chain of lakes right now, which is Lake Marion and Lake Moultrie.
Yep.
Getting ready for the Elite Series tournament coming up this week. So we should be an interesting one down there. Give a few minutes for everybody else to get joined up here. You're going to share it everywhere? You want me to do it?
I can do it.
Okay. So we got a lot to cover tonight. A lot in the fishing world anyways as far as tournaments go. So I guess we need to start first off though. So last week Jody Wright was here with Catcher Lures.
That's correct.
Sorry I was not here. I was on an overnight stay with work, so I was bundled up in a hotel room. But anyways, I understand Jody had a giveaway for us, and I'm sorry, David, I can't read my writing now. Terry Herman won that. So Terry, get in contact with the store, and David can get you fixed up for that.
Yep.
And we will get you going from there. So what all was in that? Do you remember?
6 swim jigs.
6 swim jigs. Are they all the same
and
way?
Some stickers. No, 1/2 ounce and 3/8.
Okay.
I think it's white or ice, stump knocker, and green pumpkin.
Gotcha.
Since it's coming into what everybody calls jig season, even though you can throw a jig year round.
Yeah, I've never fished with Jody's stuff.
You should try it sometime. Are we getting any traction tonight?
I think so. Up to 15 or so viewers. Yeah, so we don't have anything crazy to talk about tonight, but I mean, the only thing in the industry that really happened this past week, I guess, Major League Fishing announced that they are going to merge with FLW.
They absorbed FLW.
Absorbed? Is that how they wrote it?
Well, that's not necessarily how they wrote it, but it's definitely what happened.
So they, from now on, they will be known as Major League Fishing Big 5, is the way I understand it. So that will be, instead of MLFLW, is what it was before, now it will be Major League Fishing Big 5. So the way I understand it is anything with the Big 5 logo on it will be 5 fish limit. So your BFLs, I guess it's still called the Toyota Series, those types of things will still be, they'll be noted as Big 5, but anything underneath the Major League Fishing logo will be catch, weigh, and release like it has been in the past years. I guess we can probably get Britt on here sooner or later and get him to confirm that for us. But anyway, so a lot of tournaments will happen in this past week. The Cat, this is kind of odd to say this, it being October, but the Cat Spring Championship,
Spring final,
yeah, was this past weekend on Wiley. I understand it was a real slugfest out there. What'd it take to win?
A whopping 10 something.
10 something.
1089 Joe Hansel.
I wasn't there. I was down on water getting ready for the CBC. Yeah, so 1089 and Joe Hansel won that. Did you guys sponsor that event at all, or?
We did, but with COVID, everything got jacked up. So Brett and I kind of just put everything on hold. And,
Gotcha.
We're going to shoot to try to get things started back up in the spring, hopefully.
There's a fall cat going to start too, right?
October 17th.
Okay.
Hopefully, these fish will kind of reposition themselves a little bit better by then and won't be in between. There are fish moving right now.
There are?
100% fish are starting to make the move out on Wiley. But until they make the move, it's tough.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't been on Wiley in a long time.
You can catch a bunch of short fish.
Spotted bass? Are they everywhere?
I didn't catch a spotted bass. We caught largemouth.
Okay.
There are people saying that they're catching a lot more spots, but give it time.
Well, hopefully it will. You say give it time, the spots will take over. Is that what you're saying?
They're gonna take. I mean, we're past that point. I mean, they're gonna start to take over certain things. I definitely think you might see a big shift to largemouth using creeks more than the days of going and catching big largemouth on the main lake.
I'll have to figure out how to catch them again then. I don't really leave the main lake.
I'm with you. But we're in for some interesting times, to say the least.
Well, I was going through our archive here not too long ago, and like episode 21 or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty fitting that Joey was on here. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jody was on here just last week because don't you have a 1v1 with him in October?
Well, he wants a shot. Jason Land is he's up next, but Shane's got to get back, and right now he can come on, but it ain't fun. We might just have to go to MLF style for that.
MLF style? Yeah. No size limit?
No size limit, just weigh them and throw them back. I don't know.
I forgot Jason was on deck. We haven't talked about it in a while. Is it going to be out here?
That's what we said.
Okay.
I'm kind of starting to want to rethink that, but I don't know. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. The fish are, like I said, they're just starting to make the move. I think it'll be fun. Hopefully could be fun coming up soon.
Gotcha. Well, it should. I'm trying to remember. When is Chickamauga? Is it next week or is it the week after?
I think it's next week.
Okay, so you're at least 2 weeks out.
I thought it was back to back to back with the elites.
Lake Fork doesn't happen until November.
But what I'm saying is Gunnersville, Santee, and Chick were all.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, you're probably right. I know they were trying to squeeze them in. Which, while we're on that, so Santee's this week, Chickamauga is next. I got an email today from Bass. I was signed up to do the marshalling event.
Yeah, they deleted marshals today, didn't they?
Yep, I got the notification today that there will be no marshalling. So I was really looking forward to that. I've never done that before, and I fish Santee a lot. But I think it'd be cool to have gotten in the boat with one of those elite level guys and see how they break the lake down.
Yeah. Lake Hickory Winter Trail starts November 7th.
Jason Quinn said they're starting to make the move where? He wants you to explain.
I think they're making the move through the dam, hopefully to restock Watery, but I'll be able to confirm that next year, Jason. I hope that's a fitting answer for what you're asking.
We need to get Jason on here.
Jason and I have talked about it.
He said
when
come down here?
He said when the time's right, he might jump on.
All right.
The time hasn't been right, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
The catfish are biting, so he might be tied up for a while.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, what's
Yeah, so back to all the tournament trails. So the Cat had an event on Norman as well, and that was that Saturday or Sunday? Because they had the Toyota Series up there too.
Cat was Sunday.
Okay, so they fished on Sunday. after the lake had been pounded for 3 days.
Well, but it's been pounded for
10
2
years.
weeks. Well, set aside the last couple of years. You had the big bass the week before.
Yeah.
Then you roll right into a Toyota Series, and then
before that we had the BFL Super Tournament.
Yeah, so it's a constant pounding.
Yeah, so it only took 9.25 pounds. So Corey Stone and Nick Williams won that. The day before the Toyota Series wrapped up, and former Elite Pro Troy Morrow, he was the lead guy, wasn't he?
I think he fishes the
FLW Tour.
Yeah.
Troy Morrow won that. He had 32 pounds and 3 ounces for a 3-day total. I read the write-up on it, and it sounded, well, he made it sound like he caught most of his fish on a shaky head. So, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he said. And our local David Williams wrapped up the Angler of the Year, so congratulations on that, David. And he won Big Fish the second day for a whopping
$30-something.
$34.
Yeah, I'd like to get an explanation as to how that prize money's configured. But then again, if you look at all of the payouts for FLW, BFLs, and the Toyota Series stuff, it's kind of goober-ish, so to
Pay
speak.
attention to it.
Well, look at it. Do the math sometime. You might be mind blown at how much money is
Doesn't go back to the fisherman.
how much money is out there.
Well, I think Hamrick, he had big fish at Hartwell.
And won a
early this
whopping
year.
$96.
Was it $96?
Or 76. It's
Less than $100
It was less than $100.
Yeah, it's not much.
Which I don't know.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, changes underneath the new logo. Yeah, so the Elites was this past week as well. I made a lot of tournaments this past week and a half.
But everybody's trying to make up COVID.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're hopefully opening up. I know South Carolina is, and North Carolina's finally made it to phase 3, I think, on opening. So I know a lot of tournaments are trying to
get caught up from their schedules from the spring.
make up ground.
Yeah. So Frank the Tank Talley won on Gunnersville, and his 4-day total was 64 pounds and 3 ounces, which
That's even low. That's low.
that is low. There was a big Spro frog tournament out there Saturday, but
I don't know that it was only frog though.
it wasn't.
I think it was just a Spro event. It
Okay.
may have only been frog. Somebody can confirm that.
But still, that's only 12 boats that's left on the Elite Day for Saturday. So everywhere's tough right now. I mean, in my opinion, the fall is the toughest time of the year for me, anyways. I don't.
I think it varies from year to year due to stability.
Yeah. Is Wiley done turning over?
Wiley is kind of mid turnover, I would say. I mean, there's good water, there's bad water, there's really and truly most of all of it's bad water. I mean, it's kind of dead out there. I noticed there were some fish. There were more fish up shallow this week than there were the week before.
Okay.
A lot of smaller fish up shallow.
I haven't seen a big fish in a long time out there. Well, I haven't been out there in a long time either, but
You're not missing anything.
yeah. There might be some big fish waiting on CBC on Watery, but the lake level is so low. That place is going to fish really small. It would be my prediction on that.
Watery always fishes small.
Well, it is small, period, but that one's going to be tough, I would think. The Palmetto Boat Trail Championship fished this past week as well. That was a 3-day event on Lake Hartwell. Johnny Parker and I, we qualified for it, but Parker was fishing the Toyota Series event, and I ran out of vacation days, so I could not fish it. It's a 3-day event. I had to take the whole week off for practice, and I couldn't swing it. Everything getting piled up in October, I wasn't able to do it.
No, you got to pick your battles.
Yep. So Derek Bridges and David, I guess that's White, won that tournament with 39.09. I
Which
did not
is
know.
pretty solid for
it's
2
not
days.
bad. Well, it took. I'm trying to think. The Toyotas or the Bassmaster Open that was down there the week before. Patrick Walters won. What did he have? Like 32 and change or something like that. 33 and change. Jamie Rampy almost came back and ran him down from 10th place the last day. He had the biggest bag of the tournament. Like 16 pounds or something
remember,
like that.
I don't remember what it took to win that. But again, you see there that fall, the dead period in September is kind of starting to ease up some places. Can't say that for Norman, though.
Well, the 2-day event on Norman, it took 16 pounds was leading the first day. Chris Bumgarner had that. And then I'm trying to remember what it took to win that tournament. It's like 34 pounds, right? I can't remember who won it now.
Brian
Morgan
Morgan won it.
Yeah.
I still, every time I hear that name, I have to laugh at old Captain Hook. Good evening, Sean Winters.
Are you related to them?
Yeah, that's it's cousin.
Your cousin?
Yeah, well, my dad's cousin. I guess it'd make it my second cousin. I don't know how that works. It's family. That's all I know. I see my father's jumped on here.
Yep. Our biggest fan. Well, is Mama on here? That's our biggest fan.
Little Sean.
Is that Sean Jr.?
They're having a family discussion on our podcast.
Maybe you should jump on there.
Nah, I'm good. Let them fight it out. let them have their moment to catch up. Okay, so CBC Watery, you were down there this weekend.
I was.
Give a prediction. Give a lineup. Give an idea. What you thinking?
Am I allowed to do that? It's off limits.
You know what? No, yeah, you are. As far as I'm concerned, nobody solicited you for the information. Fire away. The lake's off limits. You don't have to dive into detail.
So I don't know a ton about Lake Watery. As close as I live to it, I know more about the North Carolina lakes than I do South Carolina.
Well, Jason, if you're on here, fire a prediction out there. Chris Marshall, get a life.
I'm going to say I think the weights are going to be down from what you normally see. I don't think it'll take over 20 pounds to win. I just don't think it unless we don't have a ton of boats.
I don't think you will have a ton of boats. Look at what happened at High Rock.
Yeah, but wasn't there some other stuff going on?
Again, James River, regional. You're gonna lose boats to that. You got.
Well,
I mean.
Yeah, but that's the North Carolina guys. So the South Carolina division fishes Cherokee, the BFL regional, but that doesn't happen until like the middle of October.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch the prepaid list until Wednesday night, close to midnight, and
we're in. I have to fish that one to make the championship. So
you could bypass it and leave one more spot on Norman for me.
Nah, I gotta fish Lake Norman.
I know you do. Lake George.
I'm gonna say it's gonna take 18 pounds to win. The CBC or the CBC at Watery this weekend.
I'm gonna have to say that it could potentially take closer to 20. This week. I'm not saying that I'm going to be in the mix. The weather's different. There's a lot of differences.
Have you looked at the extended forecast yet?
It's supposed to get decent this week and then drop off.
It's supposed to rain Saturday.
Is it supposed to rain Saturday? Even better. I don't know. You could be right. I think 18 is a solid guess. It could take 20 or it could take 16 and a half.
Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to the cats that have been going on down there, but I don't think it's been taking a whole bunch of weight to win.
Let's see if I can't pull up some of that
I mean, I could be completely wrong, but let's just put it this way: I can't catch. Well, if we're going off Saturday and practice, there's no way I can get any close to that. But
Can you get 5 bites?
yeah, I got plenty of bites.
Can you get 5 keeper bites?
The ones that set the hook on were keepers. But I think the biggest one might have been 3 pounds, maybe. I don't know how big the other ones were. That we didn't set the hook on. But
Here's my problem with watery. Every time I go down and pre-fish, I have very good days, and then I show up for the tournament and can't catch fish. If I go down there and just go fishing, the result seems to be a little bit better.
well, it's small enough that you can just go fishing. I mean, you can fish dam to dam in one day. It's not far.
September 19th. I feel like there was another cat before then, or after then.
Nope. 26th. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, every time I made a prediction in a tournament, there you go. Gary says it took 15 to win the last cat.
15 pounds even. Alan Fletcher. I think we talked about that. You may not.
I don't think
Yeah,
I
I
was
think.
here.
Yeah, you were.
Was I?
Yeah, last week. Maybe it was. I don't know.
So I may be high. I mean, that's a team tournament, a smaller field.
And that's all the locals.
Yep. So that may be a little high. I don't know. It'll. Chris Marshall watery sucks. I don't like watery.
Chris Chris hasn't. I mean, even when we fished together, the BFLs, we went down and practiced for watery, and that lake. He does not like that lake. I can confirm that. And he fishes. I mean, he knows some good stuff down there. It's just.
I don't like it either.
I don't know. I'll keep my opinions of how to fish it to myself to get through the weekend if I decide to go down there.
No, I don't. It'll be interesting to say the least. I'm just hoping to catch a limit and just be respectful.
You're just trying to get your
Shot at $50,000 and
you're trying to get your bid into Norman, yes. Yeah. Sean Winters, to answer your question, I don't know. If Shane was here, he could give you a little bit better idea.
Lake George. That's in Florida, isn't it?
No, Lake George, New York.
Oh.
So if you were going to New York this time of year, what would you be doing?
The smallmouth should have the feed bag on. So this is about the time I've been on St. Clair. Hopefully you have, if you're going out on I don't know anything about Lake George. I don't know how big it is. But the weather right now is always a factor. I mean, it can be, the wind can shut you down in a hurry.
Yep.
The smallmouth should be really grouped up. All those fall patterns and transitions that we used to see down here all the time, that you used to read in Bassmaster magazine when you were a kid. That I don't see happen anymore. I'm gonna say they don't. Those smallmouths still play by those rules. They group up and you get around them. It might take you a little while to find them, but when you get around them, I mean they bite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stupid. But the schools up there are so much bigger than what we have here. They're less educated. I don't know. They know winter's coming, so as soon as it starts getting cold,
they're under ice for 3 months out of the year.
Nuts.
Lake George is 32 miles long, so it's about the same as Wiley. About the same size. I don't think it has near as many fingers off.
Oh, well, a lot of those lakes up there don't.
Anyway, well,
I don't know anything about Lake George. That's just smallmouth in general on those northern lakes.
I think Lake George has a decent largemouth population. It's similar to Champlain.
Okay. Well, the smallmouth or the largemouth aren't going to leave the grass on those lakes. So
no, fish the grass.
Yeah.
All right, so where are we up to now?
The regionals. So
yep,
we kind of talked about that a little bit with Cherokee, but the James River is this week. All the North Carolina guys are up there. That starts Thursday. They fish Thursday, Friday, Saturday. that goes out just outside of Richmond, so that's going to be a long run to the Chickahominy where everybody's going to fish. Hopefully the tides are right for those guys. If they're not, that place could be
tough.
That could be a long ride for a tough bite. And you know, obviously you can't control the tides, so it can be you could be running at the best time of the day, trying to get either to or from where you're headed.
Or you just fish close and pray.
Yeah. You ever been up there?
No.
I haven't been on there either. Our buddy John Weezy won the co-angler event up there, or co-angler. He won it as a co-angler in a Bassmaster Open. I know he qualified, and he's excited about it.
Didn't he? When was that? Spring or was it fall?
You know, I don't remember. I don't know. I'm not sure when it was. He's fishing right now, if I know him.
Right, is it dark out? Yeah, he's soon
probably
coming
coming
off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting for the guys from around. I mean, there was a guy in the store today that is from that area. And now, granted, he's much older.
Sure.
Like, much, much older. And he seems to think that he could put somebody on 20 pounds in the James River.
Multiple days.
He says that there's a place that he's got that they'll reload in. But, again, it's a tide thing.
Yeah.
And if you can't get the tide right.
The only tide river or tidewater experience I have is in the Cooper River. I fish with my father-in-law, well, we used to all the time, and you know that tidewater, it's crazy. Like, you know, you're used to getting up at the crack of dawn and going and fishing here. I mean, you can look at the tide charts, and
we're not going till 10:30.
You just sleep in. We're not going till 9 or 10.
Yep.
And you go and you fish, you know, the places that you know where the tide is right on them, and then.
I've heard the plus side to the James though is you can go catch some good trout if the bass fishing's bad, so you could go eat good anyway.
That's cool. Bring your cast net and go shrimping along the way too.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I don't know if I'd be eating those dumped out of downtown Richmond.
Well, that and I mean throwing a cast net's fun, but you don't want to do it with carpet in a boat because you'll never get that schmuck that.
I'm still getting all that catfish slime off the front deck of my boat.
Yeah,
that big flathead I caught a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. MLF FLW Big Five.
Yeah, we talked about it already. Oh, so I don't know if my brother's watching tonight or not, but it just so happens to be our 30th episode.
And it's his 30th birthday.
And today is his 30th birthday. So if you guys are friends with him, go give him a hard time. I think he's moping around a little bit tonight.
Tell the electrician wannabe happy birthday.
They sent me a text earlier.
You know, the elevator guys are just wannabe electricians that couldn't make it, right?
I didn't know that. He told me he's been wiring for a whole bunch of sensors lately.
There you go. I hope he's watching.
I doubt it. He's probably in bed already.
Really?
Yeah, had a rough weekend.
Birthday weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you know, he's not married, doesn't have any kids.
I'm sure he's trying to recover.
Yeah.
Because at 30, you're just not as young as you were at 21.
But you think you are. Or at least he does.
Well, there you go.
I didn't.
No.
I knew better.
A little smarter than that.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I had a wife and kids at that point. And
that's when my first child was born. I was 30.
I was a little younger than you.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is degrading fast.
So let's talk about this fall transition stuff.
Who am I to talk about anything?
Well,
I mean, really.
I mean, you're still the 1v1 champion.
I got lucky, man.
I mean, well, if you were going to go out here and get lucky right now.
Oh, I mean, you look at what I did this weekend, and I didn't get too lucky. But I did find out that there was someone ahead of me who happened to have almost 12 pounds in a 3-fish tournament, Wiley.
There's a 3-fish tournament on Lake Wiley?
Extreme Lakes Challenge guys had a tournament out of Big Allison Landing. It took 11:46 to win with 3 fish.
He was the winner?
And he won. And the fish are moving to the backs.
They are moving to the
They
backs.
are starting to move to the backs a little bit. Now, the bait's been there for 2-3 months now. I just haven't had any success in finding any fish with them yet, and the water's been up and down. It's odd out there.
Is the water still dirty?
There's a slight stain on the main channel, very, very slight. But
So it looks good then.
no, it's not even like what you would call good. It's just kind of
Is it turnover water?
I can't say yes to that. I can't say no either, but it's just not. I don't know. It's a little bit too dark, just too dirty for throwing topwater good. They'll still bite it, but it's not. You look at it and you're like, I want to throw a square bill, and then you throw your square bill in the water and you can see it down 2 foot.
Yeah.
It's just kind of murky water.
So the only way I've ever done really well in the fall, and this is typically what I do, period, in the fall, and I either swing and miss or there's no in between. I don't ever just go out there and catch whatever 10 pounds or 8 pounds right now.
Not a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I either really catch them or I don't catch them at all.
Yeah.
And it's just 100% covering water. I don't know if you watched any of the Elite event live this past week on Gunnersville.
A brief minute.
So
I had a project this past week that I got stuck on.
So Brandon Cobb, who's a local to the Hartwell area, he led the first 2 days. I think he had 17 pounds a day or something like that, and then he really struggled the final 2 days. And there was a different leader on day 3 and obviously on day 4 when Frank Talley won. But they had a camera on Cobb the second day, and he basically alternated between 2 topwater baits the entire time. And he said something that kind of reaffirmed what I'm talking about. He said in the fall, and this is a Carolina guy, right? So I mean, he's applying what he knows about Carolina lakes to Gunnersville. And he said he felt like you can't go and win on a spot in the fall. You just have to, what you're talking about, and go fishing.
Oh,
and get on a pattern and then fish different areas of the lake in multi-day tournaments because it doesn't reload. And that's what happened to him. He said on the third day, he said he was getting some bites still, but he was still fishing the same areas, and they were either missing the stopwater plug because they'd already seen it, or they were little, the ones that were getting it. And the guy that won, Frank Talley, there was a fog delay Saturday morning, and he actually stopped on a place he hadn't fished all week, and he caught a 5-pounder, like it was 5 and change. It was a big fish for the day. He basically won a tournament right there. I think he caught 3 fish and had like 12 pounds, and then he ended up catching, he caught the biggest bag of the tournament with 18 and change on the final day. But those guys were changing throughout the tournament and throughout the. I mean, they might fish one area one day. Like the guy that led the first day was not Cobb. It was a local, Kyle Welcher. And he was someplace. I've been to Gunnersville 7 or 8 times, I think. I have no idea where he was. It almost looked like Pickwick. He was fishing like walls. It was somewhere in the river. Walls in the river, concrete barriers. I mean, it did not look like the
it just
miles and miles and miles of grass that you usually see from Lake Gunnersville.
But see, you just said something that people get sucked into. Everybody thinks, you go to Gunnersville, you got to fish the grass this time of year.
Yeah.
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, most of the leaders, most of the guys that were in the top, their primary pattern had nothing to do with the grass.
I don't think they had a primary pattern, period.
But again,
burn their trolling motor batteries up.
Again, cover water. It's not like you're going to go I'm going to go flip that grass mat and sit there and work your way through it.
It wasn't Welker, it was the other younger guy. And this is what's so hard about it is because, for me to remember this stuff, because if you look at the top 10 at Gunnersville, I mean, some of the guys, were up there. Like the I'll call them the legends, or we want to call them the guys that are household names for bass.
Well,
But overall, it's like a changing of the guard right now. I mean, there's a bunch of young guys. Frank Talley, I think it might be a rookie, or might have fished last year maybe.
Is it a changing of the guard, or is it you got the guys who can catch fish in prime conditions, and then you got the grinders?
Well, that's a good question.
Because
I mean, this is the first time that those. I don't want to say the first time, because those guys obviously, before they got there, probably fished the same way that most of us and our viewers do. They just go when they can.
well, take Todd for example. Todd finished like 27th, I think.
So yeah, he had a top 50.
And the first day he was in second place for until later on in the afternoon.
Yep.
And
Well, he caught him quick. He had 12 pounds real fast on the second day.
and Todd's very much a grinder.
Yep.
I mean, really, if you think of the way Todd fishes, he's a grinder. These fall tournaments could set up for a guy like him compared to the guys that want to go sight fish or go flip grass or go do whatever, where you can't just run around spot to spot to spot. You're better off just putting trolling motor down and going and going and going and
Covering water.
going. Pick a creek, stay in it, fish it front to back.
I mean, that's not a bad approach, I guess.
If something sticks out, okay, I caught a fish here and I caught a fish here in the creek, it's the same type stuff, then okay, go to the next creek and see, and maybe you'll stumble on something. But I don't think running spots is the answer.
I've never been able to run spots and do well. It's always been pattern related.
I mean, depends on if the fish is shallow or deep. At that point.
I'm just talking about in general. I can't do that. You might have special secret places with them roped off out there, but I have to be on a pattern.
No, and but again, you predominantly fish shallow.
Yeah.
I predominantly fish deep. And is there a pattern to deep fishing? There is a little bit as to what they're on. But as far as you figure out what they're on, then you go run every spot that's consistent with it.
That's kind of what you do up shallow, too.
Well,
I mean, you just define pattern fishing.
yes, I agree. I get it. But they're not schools of fish.
Up shallow?
Up shallow. You're not going to go to one dock and catch 10 most of the time.
We might not catch 10, might catch 3 or 4.
True. Especially here in another 2 months when the water really gets cooled down. And
When it first gets cool, those fish group up. They'll wolfpack on up shallow, and you can catch multiple fish out of the same group.
And I have yet to see that. The couple days I've spent on Wiley, I've yet to see the first group of fish cruising down the bank.
Yeah, well, it's been muddy.
There's enough clear water, enough good areas that you could find it.
I can almost guarantee you how good the topwater bite was on Lake Norman during the 2-day super tournament. That's what was going on.
No doubt. But I heard from one of the top 10 finishers that topwater was a non-factor for him this past weekend.
That's what's good about fishing, man. You can do whatever you want.
That's right.
You talking about this past weekend?
This past in the Toyota,
Toyota
series.
series?
Topwater was not a big player
Got you.
for him anyway. Now, somebody may have been able to smoke him on it, but he could not really get bit doing it.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's the only way I can catch them in the fall. Is just get a couple bites and then basically just keep the trolling motor in the water and on high, and just fish what's in front of you.
Pick up your toad and get to getting.
I mean sometimes, but so I have a very large boat, and at the end of the day, in the fall, there's typically not much room to stand up there because there's so many rods laying on the front deck.
Yeah, your end of day look is like Thrift's starting day look.
Yeah, pretty much.
30 rods across the deck.
Except his are all, like spaced perfect and laid out. Mine are just in a pile.
Yeah.
Because the night before, I can't tell you how many times I'll tie something up to literally make 1 or 2 casts with it in the fall, and that's kind of the way that I've always approached the fall. Is just it's a junk fishing. Fish what's in front of you. If there's a rock up there, drag something on it with the crankbait, and you go to a dog, fish a jig, flip a lay down. There's a schooling fish.
Is that why that you're not really recognized until the water gets below 50 degrees?
I don't know.
I'm just asking a question.
So I'll tell you this about the winter. Why it sets up good for me is because things happen a lot slower in the winter.
You're a big fella and you move a lot slower?
No. Patterns don't change as fast in the winter.
That's true.
Winter. So, or if I get to fish once a month, there's a pretty good chance that based on the water temperature, I have an okay starting spot.
You have an idea.
And I can put it together from there because they're not changing a whole lot. Now, as soon as it starts to warm up, and they spread out and things start changing really rapidly as the spawn approaches, that's why I can't win the daggone fish off down here. I cannot figure it out. I just cannot do it.
Because those fish that you had pinned for the whole
That's right.
2 months.
That's right.
Forrest Gump you.
That's right.
Wait while they're riding the bus.
And in the wintertime, not a lot is going on. It's typically cold and nasty, so my kids are in the house. So I do get to go about every weekend to fish these tournaments. So it might take me 1 or 2 to figure it out, but then once I get a starting spot, I can typically know what to at least start. And that's just out here, right? I know Lake Wiley really well. I couldn't do that on any other lake.
No, well,
just because I don't know the places. And when I say places, I'm talking about quote unquote like actual fishing holes.
I'm going to run to this rock and start on that rock.
I'm going to make this one cast, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to do this.
That's right.
Basically, on Lake Wiley, I run out of time. I don't run out of places to fish.
I think you and I find ourselves in the same boat a lot of times.
Where other places I go, it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll go back to the place where I got 2 bites and just grind it out there.
What's next? Yeah. No,
that's tough.
Well, and I'm sure you've done it in the wintertime much like I have. You're running, and you're like, dang, I want to go there, I want to go there, I want to go there, I want to go there. And you don't have time to go everywhere. Yeah. So you just got to roll the dice and pick the one that you think is going to be right.
That's right. And that just comes from 20, well, I can't say it anymore, 30 years of fishing Lake Wiley. A lot's changed in those times. And a little bit changes every year. I'll be interested to see how this winter plays out.
I think
with
this
the
winter
invasion of spots.
Well, I think this winter could be interesting. The lake, they've posted on Duke's website. They're trying to keep the lake, a foot below normal.
I hope to God it's low.
And if it's that low, it could potentially be fun.
If it's that low, there will be a bunch of jerkbait holes that I have not been able to fish in a long time because it has too much water on top of them.
That could be good or bad for both of us.
Chris says he thinks fall fishing is more area. I believe that for sure.
The thing is, it area or is it? Well, when you say area, Chris, you might want to expound on that. Are you saying one area on the lake, or you say area as in go run the backs of creeks, go run the backs of pockets, go run mid-creek pockets, go?
No, so to me, what area means, and Chris will get caught up here in a second because the comments are always a little bit behind. But to me, area means, like, we'll just throw out something here. So if something is going on in Big Allison from the hot hole back, you might as well just stay, as opposed to picking up and like, oh, well, this is probably happening in Seven Oaks, or this is happening in Mill Creek or Little Allison, because in my experience, that's not the case.
No, when you find them biting, you catch everyone you can catch.
You just stay. And you know the golden rule in fishing, you don't ever leave fish biting to find more fish, right? So it's even more so in the fall. Hey, look, my brother's on here now. Happy birthday, Benji.
Yep. I hope you heard my comment.
How? Not yet.
He'll catch up.
All right.
I'm gonna wait and let
He'll
him.
have to go back and.
I'm gonna wait and let him
go back
find
and
it.
Listen to it now.
Can't wait to see what I get through Messenger.
Look, he even updated his profile picture to candles. That's not for his birthday.
Okay, I'm not gonna dive into that right now.
I'll have to tell you. I won't embarrass him. I'll have to tell you a story about my brother when he was like 6.
Oh
and
boy.
About his 30-year-old birthday. There's 6 years between us. All right. So, as you can imagine, I didn't physically abuse my brother.
You mentally
But
abuse
mentally.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So Chris, I took the words out of Chris's mouth. I said, "There you go." So he's talking about a specific area, not a pattern that hey they're in the pockets or they're in, steep rocky banks or whatever, right? So you get a couple bites in the fall.
Easy, God, we lost. Tell him now. Oh boy.
All right. So he wants me to tell the story. Okay. All right. So a good friend of mine when we were kids. It was summertime, and my mom. So first of all, growing up, our house was always the place to come hang out. Okay, it just. I don't know why. I mean, it would just all of a sudden we'd have 10 of my friends there hanging out. So my mom would always have cheap, easy meals. Maybe that's why I raised up because she always fed them.
Yeah, that's a bonus. That's a bonus.
Cheap, easy meals to feed, 6, 7, 8,
Hot dogs.
10 to 12-year-olds, right?
Oh yeah.
This is back when you could go outside and play by yourself and your parents not worry about you. That's how old we're getting.
No, I know. I was thinking about that the other day, telling my kids, "Hey, you're in the backyard. You're not in the front yard."
So anyways, my mom had made the summertime staple of macaroni and cheese and hot dogs.
There you go.
All right. So we're sitting out. I can remember it's like it was yesterday. My buddy Chris Adams, who's a fisherman, he likes to fish. We always used to get in arguments over. This is how simple fishing was when I was a kid. If a pumpkin seed U-tail worm was better than a June bug U-tail worm, I was totally June bug, 100%.
I could see that.
Okay, he was pumpkin seed. Sometimes he'd get fancy, it'd be pumpkin seed firetail. Remember the red tail?
Yep, I do.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so we'd been fishing the golf course pond in TK all day. I'm sure we'd probably been run off 5 or 6 times. The marshals just eventually gave up on us. But anyway, so we get there, it's starting to get dark. My mom makes macaroni, cheese, and hot dogs. And these aren't even grilled hot dogs, okay? They're boiled hot dogs.
Yep.
Okay?
And I have to say, to me, that can be the best kind.
Well,
if you get the right one.
It didn't matter when you were 12. You're
No,
starving,
it doesn't.
right?
It's food.
So we're sitting at a dining room table with my brother. I'm going to say he's 6. All right, so that'd make me 12. And my buddy Chris tells my brother, Ben, or Benji, whatever you want to call him, Benji, he says, if you eat, Benji, did you know that if you eat a hot dog and macaroni at the same time, you'll turn into a dinosaur? All right. How old are your kids?
I got one that's 5 and one that's 8.
Okay. They're all about dinosaurs at one point in their life, right?
They still enjoy dinosaurs.
Okay. Mine's all about it. All right. So, like any 6-year-old that is completely about dinosaurs, what do you think my brother did?
He ate
I mean, as fast as he could do it. Right?
He ate him some hot dog and mac and cheese at the same time.
So we're sitting there eating, and all of a sudden I look over, and my brother is just bawling. I'm talking like
lost his
tears
mind.
drop. I mean, crocodile tears falling on the table.
Oh boy!
So I'm like, "What's wrong, buddy? Did you bite your tongue?" I'm asking all the questions.
Trying
right?
to be the parent.
Yeah. And he's looking down, he's crying, and finally he sucks up enough wind, and he goes, I don't want to be a dinosaur. So the only thing that we could think of to make him stop crying at 6 was we told him that it wouldn't happen until he turned 30. Because when you're 6, 30 is a long way away, right?
That's it.
30-year-olds are old when you're 6. So today's his 30th birthday.
And he's still not a dinosaur.
And he's still not a dinosaur.
That we know of.
Well, we can ask him. He's typing pretty good. I mean, if weird stuff starts happening.
No, he's just stuck being a wannabe electrician elevator man.
Wannabe electrician elevator man. You better be careful. The pictures he just sent me, he might be looking to use it here.
I have one too.
He bought him a birthday present.
I have one or two as well.
So that's one of the, I guess, PG-rated stories that we can tell about my brother and I growing up. But needless to say, that's a family favorite.
You know, because you've got kids. Now you've got a boy and a girl, so it's not quite as interesting around your house.
I don't know about that.
See, I don't know. I don't have a girl. I got 2 boys, and I'm gonna just tell you something. Some of the things that are said, done, talked about, laughed at our house, mind-boggling.
Yeah, well, I heard about the tripod massager thing that is no longer in your house anywhere.
No, that's not a story we need to dive into here. That's kind of like Fletcher asking you if it hurt when your hair fell out.
I mean,
you know,
there's a legitimate question, though.
But filters are. I don't think that they make filters for kids.
No, if you want to know the truth.
Matter of fact, I think when you and I were growing up, they had this show called Kids Say the Darndest Things.
They did.
And, you know, my kids probably would be poster children for that right now.
So back to the fishing stuff.
Sorry, we digress. But you know what? We've got more viewers now than we had when we were talking about fishing.
I'm telling you, I will never forget that for as long as I live.
So when's your brother going to come up and go fishing with you? So, A, I can actually meet him face to face, and B, I can actually rib him in person.
I took my brother to Santee when it started getting tough. The broom were still on the bed this year. That's the last time he's been fishing with me. So that was end of June, maybe July. I can't remember what day that was. But we caught a couple.
Can he play golf?
No.
Oh.
He might want to play golf, but as far as
actually playing golf,
yeah,
it's not happening.
No. I mean, he would go, but I don't know.
Is he a beer a hole, shoes off by 17 kind of guy?
Probably. I'll tell you what he will do. He'll shoot shotguns.
See, for me, I don't. That does not bring me joy.
Gotcha.
I mean, personally, I'll do it. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I mean, there can be a give. I mean, he'll play golf with you if you want to go shoot sporting clays.
Well, I might join in if I get a free minute.
He just said he got his fishing license today.
Wow. Like for the year, or just renewed it?
Probably for the year, or just so he just renewed it.
Okay.
But Chris said, so back to what we were talking about before, fall being an area thing, fishing what's in front of you. So Chris has won a lot in the fall. He won the regional at Bugs or Kerr or Carr or whatever you want to call it. That's always in the fall. All the regionals are always in the fall.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah, they're always in the fall. Always October.
You know, that's always been funny to me. So you have to fish through this process, okay? You start club tournaments, BFLs, then you move up Toyota Series. And every one of those that you have to fish, your regional to make the next step is in the fall. But yet when you make it to the pro circuit, this is the first year in how many years that there's been a actual fall event?
Ever.
Like,
I can't remember any of them. I think some of the Megabuck stuff when we were like kids, I think fished in the fall a little bit, but that's back when there was like 5 tournaments a year.
But again, I mean, I'm just saying you have to.
Because even when FLW was doing the Forcewood Cup, I mean, they always fished in August. You fish all year. Championship was in August.
And that's not fall though. There's no
That's
trend.
summer.
That's miserable
Yes.
as miserable as it gets. I don't know.
You know what? I take that back. They did it last year. I forget what happened, but they had to get a 10 killer last year.
because there was an event canceled because of a flood.
That's right.
It wasn't because they chose to go. It was a makeup event.
That's right.
I'd like to know that from people that know. Jason, Quinn, I'm sure you're not still on here, but why would you not have set it up to see who's the best consistently throughout the year? Not just let's pack it all in the spring and fish, February through April and May, and then you're done.
Definitely the schedules that I've seen. So let's be honest. So bass fishing's at any pro level sport, if you want to call it that, has to have fans. Okay? And you can see other sports like football and baseball. The fans now, I hate what's happened to baseball, but it's all about throwing 100 miles an hour and all about hitting 600-foot home runs. That's what it's about.
I agree.
Football games, they want to see 45 to 42 games. Okay? They want to see offense. Well, in bass fishing, offense is big bags.
No, and I know for people into fishing, they want spring fishing
That
because
was the biggest knock on Major League Fishing. Was I didn't want to watch them weigh in 1-pounders. It's boring. Yeah, they caught 200 of them, but every one of them was that big. So I quit watching it. And this year they instituted the 2-pound rule or whatever it was, and a lot more people watched. Okay, so I think, in my opinion, bass sets up the schedules to go to the best lakes at
the best time.
Because, for example, that's the reason why I like to fish in the winter, because I'm going to catch a big one.
But
Right.
again, if the Elite Series fished in the winter,
It'd be awesome.
it would. Okay.
I would love it.
But even still, okay, you talk about fans. Sports have to have fans. Well, how many of the guys that fish and then put up their fishing rods and go sit in a deer stand?
Well, a lot of them do.
Okay, but for me, if I go deer hunting, I'm not going to lie to you. I play on my phone. I do.
You do now, but 10, 15 years ago,
No,
those guys did.
You didn't, but you do now.
They just went to sleep.
Done that too. I think anybody that's hunted has done that as well.
For sure.
But you could legitimately keep track of a fishing tournament while sitting in a deer stand. And I think this year may have opened people's eyes to what the industry really can sustain with COVID.
Sure.
It's changed the game a little bit.
Yeah. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Okay. I like this, that they're having to fish in the fall. I really do. Okay. Now, I'm a true fan of bass fishing, though. Right? If I have a chance to watch something live, I'm not going to say I'm going to sit there in front and watch it for the 8 hours because I got to work.
But you're going to have it on.
But I'm at least going to look at Bass Track on a break, or catch a 5-minute portion of the video here and there throughout the day. Right? I'm involved and I'm staying in touch with it.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you this: there is some probably marketing in it as well, where they cut you off in July or August, and then there is nothing until the Classic.
I agree.
And then people come out of the woodwork for the Classic because
but again, the
you've
Classic,
been starving for fishing.
Classic hasn't been the first term of the year
for the last couple years.
Years. Right. And so,
but the tournaments, the only time they've ever had a real true winter tournament is when they went to Cherokee before the Classic. They always go to Florida in January. They need to stop going to Florida in January. They need to go there in like April.
But again, change it up. That's what I'm saying. It's the same.
Well,
it's the same content every year.
And I think that's why the guys that did well this past week were not your household names, because those guys that have been fishing bass or professional fishing for 15, 20 years, they have honed their skills around pre-spawn, spawn, and immediate post spawn, and that's it.
And a lot of them have forgotten how to grind.
That's right. But as far as the fans go, if you ask a normal run-of-the-mill fan, hey, you want to see 100 pounds win a tournament? Or do you want to see 62 pounds win a tournament? They're going to take the 100 pounds every day.
Again, that's you're right. Across is our general rule of thumb, but for the true hardcore fisherman, how much can you benefit from watching now?
Oh, a lot.
And what you can learn from watching these pros fish right now when everything's as hard as it's going to get.
Sure.
Everybody says, "Oh, summer's the hard." No, sir. The lake is going to be the hardest it can possibly be when those fish start transitioning into a fall pattern.
Well, they move. They
lock
move
in,
like crazy.
But they lock in on bait.
Yeah, they just follow it.
And if you find a bait, you can find some fish. But like Wiley right now, a lot of the fish are suspended off the bank.
And really hard to catch
because the water's been jacked with.
Better get your underspin out.
There are ways of catching fish now that. Again, I haven't practiced. I haven't been fishing. I don't know. I haven't played around with different ideas. But you're right. Underspins. Jackal has a new bait, the Coop, which is kind of like the Little George, but it's much better designed.
You have those here?
I do have them here. And, if you get into these fish that are really locked into the bait, you can learn by watching other people do things.
I agree with that.
And so,
and if anything, I'm going to cut you off, but if anything it does for me as a fisherman,
it allows you to size yourself up to them.
Well, it makes me feel better because a lot of those guys struggle.
That's right.
And it makes it kind of brings it down to kind of back to earth to make you realize that not everybody goes out there and just blasts them from takeoff to weigh-in.
Well, it's all the sides of fishing. Okay? Nobody wants to show the bad. Nobody wants to talk about the bad.
Right.
Okay, you got high school kids coming up wanting to be professional fishermen. You got college kids striving to be professional fishermen. And all of them look at what's out there right now. Okay, well, we got to survive February, March, April, and May. And then I got to learn how to catch smallmouth for June and July. And then after that, you're free and clear.
Yeah, but smallmouth in June and July are pretty much
dumb.
April and May up here.
They're just dumb. They'll bite anything. Just the question is can you get on big enough ones to get done? But there's no reality of bass fishing. It's all a false, okay, we're going to go catch 100 pounds this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to go here and catch 20 pounds a day. Nah, it doesn't work that way.
Well, let me ask you this. So you won enough out here. How many times have you gone out here on a tournament day, okay, not fun fishing, and have caught more than 15 bass?
On a tournament day? Honestly, a lot. I'm talking about quality keeper fish. I'm not talking about I'm
not talking about two 12-inchers strapped to a 6XD.
No. In the last 2 or 3 years, not as many. But I can tell you, and you were there 4 years ago, wintertime.
Wintertime doesn't count because they get wadded up.
But I'm just saying, how many 20-pound bags did we cull through?
Oh, yeah.
And have 20 pounds at the end of the day? And dang, I wish I could have those fish again next week. And you show up, and guess what?
They're still there.
They're still there, and you can have 20 pounds again.
Yeah. When Chris and I were fishing, I can't tell you how many times we had. They all looked exactly the same.
Huskins and I literally had to get the cull bar out for every fish.
The same way for us.
And it was like, dude, you're culling 3 8s, 3 9s, 4 O's, and you're throwing back 18 to 20 pounds, and you got 23 in a live well.
Yeah, that was when they were built a whole lot different then too. Those fish.
But are they?
They were then. The ones I was catching were, anyways. The infamous winter you're talking about. It
No,
looked like every one of them had swallowed.
Footballs.
Yeah, swallowed a softball or a
that
basketball.
That was a year that we transitioned, much like we are right now. We had summer. It transitioned into fall. The fish got in the bait. They stayed in the bait, and you didn't fish a lot in the fall, but that fall was tough until there was a click. And when the switch flipped, it started out 17 to 18 to 19 pounds, and then by January it was full blown. You better have 20 plus.
Oh, I know. I had 19 or 20 every week, and these tournaments are so small. Third place doesn't get paid, so.
No, and again, it's every year is different. Every lake every year is different. So you can't. I mean, Watery. Everybody's Watery's on a downfall. No, is it though?
I don't know. I can't say anything about
It's
that
just
lake.
well,
It's always on a downturn for me.
okay, Wiley, Norman, are they really on a downturn, or is it just a scenario where the fish are doing something that is out of the norm for the last 4 or 5 years for the consistent people?
So, I think Lake Wiley is, and I will say this, the reason why is because for years I've said it. We fished a Special Olympics tournament out there, and it's in May. One of my favorite times to fish on Lake Wiley. Shad spawn's tapering down, and you can pretty much do whatever you want, right, to catch fish in May because the spawn's done.
But at times,
I understand that.
It's like this. The last 2 years you fished on Wiley, shad spawn has been there,
but it's been bad.
But the fish have not been with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, that's what I was saying. I think Wiley is in a downturn because before, if you found the shad spawn, it didn't matter where it was, you were going to catch some out of it. I just don't know if there's that many bass left in our lake. And I'm not saying I'm good enough to know that, okay? But what I'm telling you is I'm getting less bites. And the ones that I do get now, the mix between rat spotted bass versus
good largemouth
has drastically changed.
So here's a question for you, and for the viewers and everybody that happens to stumble across this. And I don't do it as much as I used to, and I need to start doing it again. Do you keep a journal?
I did for a long time.
Okay.
I do not now.
Okay. So I'm gonna put a theory out there. Then people are gonna laugh at me. People make fun of me. I don't care. Whatever. This is my opinion. Take it for what it is. But if you look at what has happened at Lake Wiley for the last 3 years, through the spring, early spring, pre-spawn, spawn, into the post-spawn, what has happened here that didn't typically happen as much 3, 4, and 5 years ago?
I don't know.
Okay, so the last 3 years, we've had a major flood event in the spring.
I'll agree with that.
Okay, so the water's gone way, way, way up. And it usually happens 2 to 3 weeks before they want to go on to bed. And then they go on to bed, and guess what happens?
They suck the water off the top
They
of the
jerk the water off the fish. Okay, so when you have that happen, it already sets the fish up in a funky position. And then if you look at the graph for the last 3 or 4 years, the water has spiked. They've jerked the water up, and it's gone up and it's come down. It's up and down. There's nothing stable. What have we learned about largemouth? They love stability.
Yeah.
When you want to catch big largemouth, the most stable conditions is key. Are the fish dead? Are they gone? Or are they really in a position that they don't show their face because they're scared to go to the bank?
I think they're gone. And the reason I say that is I agree with what you're talking about with the spawn being bad. And the evidence for that is
fry. There's no fry. I mean, I think I saw 2 balls of fry this year.
I think I've seen 4 or 5 balls in the last 5 years total.
And again, the fry that I saw weren't in the places that you go look for fry.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Main Lake, Main Creek docks that point dock that's got fry around it.
So one of the biggest spawning places in the whole lake used to be the River Hills Marina right down here.
Yep.
Right down here.
Yep.
Sorry.
We've all looked at
my coordinates right that way down there. And in May, you could go in there, and that whole deep left-hand side of the bank where all the laydowns used to be and natural rock and all that stuff, it used to look like water spiders on the water. As soon as you got past that last dock around, turn all the way back to the walkways, and it was fry. You do not see it anymore, ever.
But again, is it because those fish are not using those areas to spawn because of the water situation up and down?
You would see fry somewhere. I'm not talking about just there.
No, I know.
You would see fry somewhere, and I have not seen it because the fry cannot live in deep water. It gets eaten by everything, and there's not enough shoreline cover for it to survive. So any of the successful spawns that I've seen are either getting, so out of those 5 schools of fry I did see, they're getting obliterated by bluegill
and perch.
Yeah, I mean obliterated.
No, I agree completely. I mean, this winter's going to be a tell-all, I think.
Well, last winter we thought that too, but the water was high and stayed muddy the entire time.
But again, we also didn't have a cold winter.
No, we didn't.
I think
and if you look at the weather right now, so
we are on track to have a good cold winter.
Yeah, we are on track. So tomorrow it's supposed to be 80, and then next week it's supposed to barely get into the 70s the entire week.
And I also think not having shad kill for the last 3 or 4 years has kind of diminished the size quality as well because the fish aren't eating as much. Matt Queen will always say the fish are dead because he can't go run rip-rap banks when the water's at 98 and catch them because he's burned all of his fish up that Shane showed him. There you go, Queen. That's for you, buddy.
All right. Well, we always diverse into Lake Wiley. I guess it's because we're
sitting here on the.
We're so close to it.
Take Lake Norman for instance. Okay, there's the big push to kill the spotted bass. Lake Norman's been better than it had. I mean, it's been on an upswing.
I haven't. I did not. So I will be honest. I did not fish it when it was bad.
I'm not talking about when it was bad. I'm just talking about right now. If you look at the weights, despite all the tournaments, because there's a tournament out there 3 nights a week and 2 days on the weekend.
Well, the same way out here.
It is. But predominantly up until, a month ago, the weights were still fairly strong at Norman. I mean, everything's cyclical.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come back. I mean, you hear biologists talk about it all the time. There's
life.
Cycles. So I just hope that for the guys that haven't been out here for a long time, some of that grass that got blown around, gator grass, or I'm not even sure what it is. I thought it was water willow at one point, but I don't think that's what it is. It came out of the South Fork, whatever it is.
It's that doesn't have roots to the bottom, though. I don't think.
Whatever is growing in the backs of some of these places that are covered in silt, it's going to help.
The problem is it's out of the water 90% of the time.
Eventually, it's going to get there, though.
I hope. Listen.
This is the first year that I've ever seen
it.
How
many years ago was that you and I were talking, and we both kind of stumbled on the same thing, running a buzzbait in the backs of our pockets and running?
That was 4 years ago.
Was that 4 years ago?
Yeah.
You won a week and what's he talking about? Anyway, no, we both won our fair share of tournaments for 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks during that period.
I can tell you, I won 3 of them in a row.
And I think I won 2 in a row.
And then I lost on New Year's Day. We won every one of them in December.
Was that the one that I won on New Year's Day with a buzzbait in the back of Big House by myself?
I don't know if you won that one or if Ron Farrow won that one because it was back to back. We had a winter trail and then we had a New Year's Day tournament.
Yeah. But again, it was go run a buzzbait in the backs of the creeks. It was 60 degrees. We fished New Year's Day in shorts and T-shirts.
Yeah, we were only getting 5 or 6 bites a day on it. But that was crazy because the class of fish that were biting that buzzbait in December, I think we were winning by like 3 or 4 pounds. I can't remember. I'd have to call Christian and ask him because I'll never forget when I dug it. I was like, "What are you gonna do with that?" I was like, "I'm just gonna try." and I literally caught one that was like 6 pounds. I was like,
okay.
I'm gonna throw this for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And I think I caught everything. Or by the end of the day, we both had caught
Everything that
was out on the boat, and we only had 2 buzzbaits in the boat.
Whoa! I mean, January. You're not really looking for a buzzbait in January.
Well, it was December
or December.
It was
either
definitely
way.
December.
Traditionally.
Yep.
Now listen, when I put the boat in the water Saturday morning and looked at the water temperature was 70.8, I'm like, dang, we're already like fall topwater's gonna fade quickly if this keeps up.
It will.
And I mean,
well, you say that, but there is a big difference between. So we'll just take 60 degrees for example. There is a big difference in the 60-degree water temperature if the water's falling to 60 degrees versus it warming to 60 degrees.
that's right.
So when the water's cooling down, you can legitimately catch fish on top water well into the 50s.
55, 54.
When the water's cooling. Now, when it's warming up, you can forget it.
It's got to be 60, period.
I mean, and it's got to stay there.
Yeah, it's
right?
not
You
like,
can't
oh, the graph says it's 60 degrees. Let me go
bust
throw a
it out.
buzzbait. No,
Yeah.
no, it's good. You got to have a
That's
couple
right.
days.
I mean, you got to think about it at your house, right? I mean, if it's been cold for a long time and it finally warms up, you don't just walk outside with shorts on. I mean, it's still, you know what I mean? It's
us big fellas, we kind of do.
Yeah, I mean, I wear shorts year round, but anyways,
I'll never forget it being 18 degrees in the morning. Jason Quinn comes walking to pay for a winter trail tournament in flip flops and fished in flip flops.
Yeah, well, that's Quinn. He just does that.
I couldn't
do that. Jason Lane got on here.
Yeah.
There you go.
What's up,
There's
Jason?
your 1v1 guy.
As soon as Shane gets back, we're gonna go ahead and get that out of the way.
It's time to figure it out.
Pass the belt off, and I don't know. I might be able to hang on to it. We'll see.
I hope so. If a yakking guy comes down here and beats you on Lake Wiley, you'll never hear the end of it.
That just means I'll have to go up there and beat him.
So there are no rules on this. So we make them up as we go. So let's talk about that. If you lose, do you get the right to a rematch before he gets to accept another challenger?
I mean, I would say yes, seeing as how there's 2 fairly strong names on the back of that belt and one mediocre.
All right, well, we're just going to write in the rule book. If you lose, you get it.
I mean, you're the Don King of this whole thing, so come on.
If you lose, then
Jason, a little tough right now is an understatement, buddy.
Yeah, so if you lose, or whoever loses with the belt, there you go. He said it right there. Yes, he does. All right. This could go on forever, because technically if you take it back, then he gets the right for a rematch immediately.
Yeah, but we can't, I mean...
This is like tag when we were kids. You just stand still and
tag.
just tag back.
Tag
back.
Yeah. No, I don't... We gotta preface that. I mean, there's got to be something.
One of y'all get tired of it.
There's got to be a little bit of, Mike Tyson or Ali or any, I don't know. Mike Langford. Yeah, he's I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I might not want to have another shot at it. I might want to pass that belt on and.
Don't give me that. You're riding around with that thing in your back window.
The only reason why it's in my back window is because I'm too lazy to bring it back into the store.
Whatever. If y'all see David riding down the interstate with the belt sticking in his back window.
Fortunately, you'll never see me on the interstate. I don't go that way most days.
No. Give him a honk. And,
there you go.
And best of 3. That's what we'd do.
Murray, 1v1 in December. Chris, I was born, but it wasn't yesterday, buddy.
I'll go down there and fish 1v1 even if I don't have the belt. I just want to go.
I mean, I'll go, but come on now. I mean, Chris Marshall probably got the strongest record on Murray compared to anybody in December, January, and February.
I would agree with that, but this past year, Chris was pretty upset with Lake Murray.
But again,
I talked to him a couple times.
Look at what happened at Lake Murray. Look at the cycle. Things change. The water changes. You know? Jason Land. Ooh. Now that I might entertain. Instead of Jason taking me, he'd go to Murray instead of Baden.
If Baden gets muddy, there are giant fish in Baden. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I've heard that.
I mean huge ones.
I've heard that.
If Baden gets muddy when it's cold.
I think you and I should ride over there
To Baden?
sometime and go fish one of Jason's tournaments and see if we can't snag his lunch money.
Shane and I couldn't beat him. But I'll go.
We'll try anything once anyway. Well, that brings us into another thing. We talked about it. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I want to get some feedback from some people. Not that I think that Lake Wiley needs another tournament. Trail. I think that there needs to be an option for the guys that don't want to fish on Sunday that would like to fish Saturday. So Rusty Hooks Bait and Tackle is looking at putting together some would call high roller winter trail tournament.
High roller.
Only
I'm out.
Well, the entry fee is $100.
Oh.
We've thought about doing $50 with a $40 side pot, or $50. Do 60 and 40 or something like that to make it feasible for people. But put a comment in and see what you think. I want to get some feelers out there because we're on the borderline of pulling the trigger for a winter trail on Saturday. Not to take away from Mike Stone's Sunday winter trail. I just think that there are enough people that don't fish on Sundays for church or various other reasons that would like to have a Saturday option.
I have one request.
What's that?
If we fish on Saturday.
Print out a payout and post it?
Well, that'd be one request.
Okay.
Can we please start at Safe Light?
Yes. Well, there's none of this. We're going to go at 7:30 when all the fish quit biting at 7:15.
Good.
At least until 11.
Well, when they stop biting at 9 for a little while, that's when everybody can stop and drink their coffee and take a nap.
There you go.
I'm there. I don't have to make a comment, but as long as we don't have basketball games on Saturday, I'll be there.
And
I can even help hold the basket.
I'm hoping that, that's again, Brandon and I have talked about this back and forth. I respect Brandon for being a father and putting his kids' basketball first. And if that comes up, I'm going to fall in line to run all of it. But if Brandon's kid cannot play basketball this year, then Brandon and I are going to put something together.
I'll help you.
I think. We're thinking that we're going to start in the beginning of December and end very early February. So that
we don't interfere with any of the...
Because it is a Saturday, that way we don't interfere with any of the bigger stuff. You might have the week before the fish off, there might be a CBC. I mean, if we stop in February, we're going to have to stop first or second week. Right. I'm just waiting to see what the schedule looks like to sneak a final tournament in there.
I'll have to get Reed out of bed on Saturday.
No, I'm sure Reed will be down. He's good for one fish a day anyway.
He usually catches a big one too.
And it is, yeah. I've seen several big ones Reed's caught.
That's sorry, sucker. So we split up when Thomas had the top 60, which I wish he would do that again. I enjoyed those tournaments.
Well, Thomas got mad because I said something about him running the high school tournament out of the same ramp the same day.
Gotcha.
And he took offense to what I was saying, and it wasn't meant to be offensive.
So Reed and I fished the winter trail out here together this past year, I guess for the past 2 years. And my dad wanted to fish the top 60 events, so we fished those together. And the second one's on Lake Wiley, and Reed fished with Maurice. So we split up and we got in both of them, the winter trail and the top 60 tournament. He beat me by .01 in the winter trail and .02 on the top 60 scales. But I gotta get some kind of mulligan. I actually won more money than he did. You know why?
Big fish.
I fished by myself.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
My dad hurt his back at work, so I was solo. He had to split his money. I didn't have to split mine. There's Jody. So Jody and Chris are in.
I don't know if Chris may show up.
If Jody's coming, Chris is coming.
They might be together. They very possibly could be together. I don't know. I think it could be interesting. I think some of the Norman guys will come down.
Well, the Norman Winter Trail doesn't fish every weekend. Well, not every Saturday.
That's right. And really, truly, I did it this spring. Brandon, did you fish any? You may have fished one of my.
I did. Yeah, we fished. Reed and I fished one. We won one of them.
Yeah.
Out here.
And so on $100 entry fee, didn't you win like $1,100?
No. There was only 7 boats that day.
Okay.
Or 9
well,
boats.
But again,
we
so still would have.
Well, we won everything that was so. Yeah, we did. I'm sorry, we did win $1,100 because we had big fish, side pot, and first place.
So, Mike Seawright won he won a couple, and he won $1,100 and $1,200. So, really and truly, there could be some money to fish for this winter.
Yeah.
And I might have to see what I can get the store to chip in. He'll bring that. That's what I figured that would be the case, Jody. Well, bring Chris along too. He could use his noggin thumped a couple times. Chris, I love you, buddy. Anyway, something we're putting out there. Some thoughts. See what everybody thinks.
All right, so it's officially official.
It's officially.
Or is it officially a rumor?
It's officially out there.
Okay.
We'll put it that way.
All right.
I'm sure my phone will blow up in the next 2 days.
Mine just died, so.
It's probably good for you.
With that, I think it's time to take this thing home.
Sign her out. Oh, that's my job.
That's your cue, not mine.
Rusty Hooks Live, where our hooks may be rusty, but our points are always sharp.
That's right. Wintertime for you Game of Thrones fans. Winter's coming.
Winter is coming.
All right, guys. We will see you next week. Probably will not have Shane again because he'll be at Chickamauga, but maybe we'll get him a dial-in or something.
We'll do something. Chris, I know you cut your teeth on Wiley, but the problem is everything you cut your teeth on silted over. It'll be a learning experience for you, buddy.
You better be careful. You're going to end up with him one.
You know what though? I want him to come. I want him to come. I miss seeing Chris tournaments around here. Even though he did win a lot, I missed it. All right, we're gonna call this a night.
Yeah, we have to.
I got pork chops waiting on me, I think. Oh,
man.
Terry Herman, any of you Hickory guys, Annette or Chad or what's his name? Chad, wait. I don't know. I'm sorry. I lost the name. Somebody let Terry Herman know he won. I'll send him a message. Let him know he won the jig package from Catcher Lures
giveaway.
Thank you, Jody, for throwing something out there for the fans. And stop by and see us at Rusty Hooks if you need catcher jigs. We are loaded
Fully
down.
Stocked?
We're pretty well fully stocked, but I got a lot more on the way.
Okay. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Check us out on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe.
Are we
if
on
you
YouTube?
miss us here, we are on YouTube.
How did I guess I missed that.
Yeah, all 29 episodes.
I think we need
30
to.
will be up tonight.
That gives me some ideas.
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel.
That gives me some ideas.
All right.
We might have to.
Rusty Hooks Live on YouTube as well. And you can find us on your favorite podcast player. I don't list them all anymore because
There's so many of them.
I get a notification every other week that somebody else has picked us up. So believe it or not, that's actually where we get most of our viewership from.
Listenership.
I
think I think podcast status.
No offense, but I think it's because they have no idea what we look like.
That's probably why they're on
That's
there
what I mean.
and not on video.
That's what I mean.
Good night, guys. Thank you.